when we came into this, we knew there was an element of, we have a bit of a purpose here. We don't know exactly what that purpose is right now, going into it, but seeing who we were being surrounded with, all these amazing Canadians from all walks of life, it felt like, okay, this was going to be a special trip.
Bon appetit tout le monde. Isn't this an amazing meal?
Absolutely.
After a great visit in Maine, we began our journey further north with the first stop in Hebron.
Sean, so nice to meet you.
Hey, Lieutenant, good to see you. I'm always watching you on TV.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's cool.
A very special place for the Labrador Inuit. It's a old Moravian mission site where Inuit live, but then, of course, were forced to relocate.
That's my family's house. There's a picture of them inside. My great-great-great-grandmother and grandfather. That's their house.
We learn from our fathers and grandfathers, and we tell our stories about Hebron, how Hebron was.
The decisions that were made here were in part in consequence of Canada not accepting Indigenous peoples as equals. So what you're seeing here is incredible strength in the face of adversity. People who have gone through so much in their lives. People who are taken away from their families, people who are put in residential schools, people who are relocated.
You're not going to solve it all yourself. It's not about, we feel so much pressure and weight with this thing. It's a big thing. But you as an individual Canadian can take the time and just sit down with one elder, have a coffee, talk. And your brain will then be, I think, have more of a compassionate approach.
But we have persevered, we're resilient. And I'm really excited about what the future holds for us. But also, I'm excited about this conversation between Inuit and Canadians about the future that we want to build together.
Well, standing here, I feel
it's just overwhelming. It's beautiful.
Pretty overwhelmed and small.
Just trying to take in all the nature and just try to put things in perspective and how massive these mountains are.
From Hebron, we headed further north into the Torngat Mountains National Park. Really intense beauty, but also land of the Inuit.
It's a sacred land. It's where my ancestors survived and they hunted for thousands of years.
They're so strong and so resilient and so wise in how they have protected who they are.
We're connected here, connected with the land, connected with the animals. Leave it the way it is in the past. And in those times, we didn't waste anything. We catch only what is allowed, and we didn't waste it. That's how to respect the land.
La relation avec la nature qu'ils ont, je crois, c'est ça qui m'intéresse. Ça m'intéresse de lire plus là-dessus puis de comprendre, parce que je pense qu'on a, comme Nord-Américains, on a beaucoup à apprendre de ça.
Welcome to Iqaluit and to Nunavut. What a day! So many layers to Leg 6. And one of those being tears and laughter. I don't think I've laughed and cried so much in a week in my life. The tears were because of some of the really profound and serious things that we talked about around relocation. The laughter was having people like Sean Majumder on board, one of the funniest Canadians maybe that I've ever met.
He's like, oh, I'm the king of the Inuit. Of course you'd have to, because the king of the Inuit, he can just like, my name is Nathan Obed, I can just breathe and all these chars fly in my mouth. When you open up like that and you laugh and the stress goes away for a minute, you become more open to some of those heavier stories. You find an ebb and flow. The polar bears come out of the woods fully skinned and cleaned when Nathan Obed's around. It turns out I was bunked with the leader of the Inuit people, someone I like to refer to now as Nanook Skywalker. He's the young Jedi. He has come to lead his people into a new Canada, Nathan Obed.
But also Paul, and Paul was one of our C3 participants who has Down syndrome, and it was an eye-opening experience. Paul, I fell in love with, and so did everybody. I'll really miss Paul, and yeah, he really touched everybody's heart a lot.
We thank you to everyone, right?
Yeah! And that creates a conversation and a dialogue that is truly Canadian, and everybody's hearts and minds were open. And if they weren't open at the beginning entirely, they definitely were wide open at the end.